Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys' patience this morning. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, we do appreciate that. If you are watching us or listening to us elsewhere, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We also have a coronavirus page where that information is also free. Same URL, different tag on the end. We appreciate your patience this morning. I swear my tests yesterday were not this hectic, but it looks like we've finally got a good steady stream going this morning. Please, thanks for joining us. We do appreciate it. As mentioned in previous shows leading up to last Friday, we are using some new equipment, trying to get some better sound quality, better video quality here in the morning. Would love to hear your comments on that. As we work through this, is going to kind of be a work in progress. Obviously, this morning, as I spent about 25 minutes with a couple of raw takes there just now, but now we're getting into the show. Getting into your traffic this morning, you're looking at delays at 4H Club Road, River Road, and 190. You are looking at delays on 64 heading into Central. Both of those delays are minor, not too bad. It also looks like folks are, in fact, getting used to that roundabout at Dunn and Lockhart, so that's a good sign. Also, some minor delays on Linder Road. Delays on your on-ramps getting on the I-12, but I-12 is flowing, so it's a good sign even among all this rain. And yes, Miss Mitchell, Monday is acting like a Monday. And good morning, Miss Karen. Good morning again. We're rolling through this. We're doing the best that we can. We will get better, I promise. It's currently 76 degrees. 85 degrees is going to be your high today. You're going to be looking at a lot of rain. It's just going to be raining all day, in and out. Going to have some breaks here, there, hither, thither, and yon, I guess you can say. But looking at a pretty good chance of rain nonstop throughout the day into the evening hours. So please be prepared for that. Talking about Cristobal, our area lucked out a little bit. Unfortunately, some areas weren't so lucky. Once the storm entered the Gulf, it sped up a little bit, so that big eastern wall of storms that was supposed to hit Louisiana, actually, the storm itself moved north so quickly, those storms ran into the Jacksonville area. You might have noticed a lot of damage there, so please keep those folks in your thoughts as we move forward with this. We still are going to be getting some rain today, as mentioned. The AME has risen 8 feet since Saturday. We're up to 18 feet total. Now, please remember, it was at 46 feet in 2016. We have a long way to go. It's not going to happen with Cristobal. However, it is important to remember that we are going to, I guess you could say, be getting some more rain. So it is going to get a little higher. So keep that in mind. However, we do have a disaster declaration in place at the state level as well as the parish level. All of that line of disaster declarations was approved by President Donald Trump on Friday, and according to Senator John Kennedy, it was approved by the governor on Friday. According to Senator John Kennedy and Senator Bill Cassidy, they were on the phone with President Donald Trump on Sunday morning, who approved that disaster declaration at the federal level. What that does is that opens the door for Louisiana to liaise with people like FEMA and the federal government to try to get money, resources, those kinds of things to respond to disasters. Now, of course, just because we here in Livingston Parish didn't get it so bad, the coast, parts of New Orleans got it pretty bad. A lot of rain. There were some smaller bands that hit them. And of course, there's still going to be wind and rain today. So please keep that in mind. Please stay safe. Getting into your coronavirus statistics this morning, 42,816 cases, 2,825 deaths, 31,728 recoveries, 434,000 tests, so that number continues to ramp up. Remember, we're trying to hit that 4.4% of Louisiana population, which is 4 million. We're trying to hit that every month, so it's going to be 200,000 or more tests. Now, that's an overshoot. They're trying to build in some, I guess you can say, cushion there. But the federal guidelines state that you're looking for roughly 4% to 4.4%. We're trying to hit that high mark in Louisiana, 4.4%. Looking pretty good going forward. Again, 434,000 statewide tests. 575 individuals are hospitalized on 74 ventilators. In Livingston Parish, 464 cases, 31 deaths on 7,100 tests. Want to remind folks of the mitigation efforts Please remember to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. Disinfect common surfaces at home and at your office. Wear a mask if at all possible in public. Don't touch your face, the thing I struggle with the most. Control your cough and sneezing with an elbow or a tissue. 6 feet of distance or more between yourself and others. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. Stay home if you are sick. Utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor, and try to stay at home to work if at all possible. Getting into it this morning, it's kind of interesting. At the end of last week, President Donald Trump sort of praised the economy as we had a small bounce back from April to May. Of course, we were rapidly increasing in unemployment, getting up to some real-time unemployments of almost 30%, because that include part-time workers, gig workers, that kind of thing, who were out of work. However, according to the federal government, their record of unemployment was up to 14.7% of permanent workers in April. That dropped to 13.3% in May. So that was a good jump, 1.5%. Of course, if you were watching the stock market at the end of last week, you'll notice that there was a jump there. So that was a good sign. That was good. It's good for the economy as these folks try to get back to work and people try to bring them back to work. The legislature is continuing to move forward with spending bills to try to wrap up this session. As we've discussed before, they didn't quite make the deadline, so they decided that they were going to give themselves the extra month to discuss funding. Right now, however, it does look like both the legislature and the governor are on the same page. And what that means is that they'll be pretty close in terms of the proposed budget that came out of the Division of Administration, which usually reflects what the governor's after, and what the legislature eventually approves. There's going to be a couple $100 million or so difference, but on a $30 billion budget, for them to get that close is surprising, especially considering it's the political forces that are at play there, i.e. a Democrat governor, as in dominated Senate and House by Republicans. But for the most part, they agree. They're going to be trying to use those federal funds to shore up shortfalls in the revenue. And that they were probably going to have another session in the fall. Most of these legislators agree because they still and this is backed up by the federal government. They still do not believe that they have the full economic picture of how coronavirus is going to affect the economy, and they're going to want to give it more time, see how it plays out, and then come back in the fall to put together sort of, I guess you can say, an end-of-year budget, something that'll run from November to the end of June. Of course, the state is on a July 1 to June 30 budget. There is a legislative wish list for businesses, it's very interesting. It's something, if you remember, the governor put together a commission of a lot of public officials, business owners, that sort of thing, and they had then split into task forces that are all interested in individual industries. Now, they meet every Thursday at about 8 a.m. as a commission. The task force meet in between those weekly meetings to go over how to prop up individual industries as we move through this phased reopening. Of course, we are Friday was phase 2 day. This is the first full week of phase 2. We'll talk about phase 2 in a second. But one of the things that you're kind of looking at here, they are looking for tax breaks for businesses, a simplified tax code, centralized tax collection, workforce training, and tourism marketing. So those are the kind of, that's the broad sort of overview of what they're looking for in terms of business incentives. Now, of course, tax breaks is pretty simple. Looking for things like payroll tax breaks, or corporate income tax breaks, that kind of thing. Maybe temporary, maybe not. The Democrats in the House and the Senate during the regular session warned that tax breaks during such uncertainty may bring problems for the government if the federal government does not shore up that missing revenue as much as they had hoped. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with those tax breaks. Simplified tax code goes along with the centralized sales tax collection. What that means is that we've discussed this before. A lot of different parishes, first and foremost, you have to deal with the state's 6 cents on top of everything. Then a lot of different parishes have a lot of different sales tax that factor in. And for a lot of these businesses that are spread across Louisiana, you have to have individual tax collection departments that send those payments off. Now, as of right now, especially in Livingston Parish, you're looking at the sheriff, who is the property tax collector, and the school board is a sales tax collector. The school board is very much against an individual or a centralized sales tax collection because, one, they argue that only the school board knows their community as well as anybody else, but they really feel like a lot of businesses are going to be able to slip through the cracks. Some sales tax collection isn't going to happen as well as it should, that sort of thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see, how the lobbying and the political push goes for a centralized sales tax collection. Now, as mentioned, the schools are against it. One of the arguments they have is, how many times do we feel like we send our taxes off only to get a percentage back that is not 100% of what we're supposed to get? So it'll be interesting to see how that fight pans out. And of course, workforce training, a lot of that is offering, I guess you can say, tax incentives and grants to try to get workforce into the, whatever you might call it. It could be anything from training to be a welder to taking your entire office through a Dale Carnegie course. A lot of that workforce training is available already. They're probably going to try to increase the number of, increase the amount in those grant funds and in those revenue funds, trying to get people to do more workforce development. And of course, tourism and marketing. This is a big deal. Of course, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry here in Louisiana, trying to get people to come back as the novel coronavirus, as we move into kind of these phase 2, trying to get people to return, to go out, to spend money here locally. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of people they can get to come back. Of course, right now, there is a deal at the state parks. You're looking at 3 nights. You get the 4th night free. That's a big deal, of course, trying to get people to go back to New Orleans. Cristobal kind of affected that in a way. But we do have some beautiful state parks here. Recommend you try them out. Most of them have cabins for you to stay in. They're fully equipped. It's just like staying at home away from home. It's a nice little time away. I recommend you try that. But of course, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser got on the mic last week with the governor and talked about some of the plans they have in trying to resurge their tourism economy. But right now, what they're asking is for Louisiana residents to do a little staycation. Go somewhere here in Louisiana. According to the lieutenant governor, you won't be disappointed, and he hopes some of these folks will go out and support their local economy, and so do we. Now, I want to talk about phase 2 a little bit more. We're moving into, obviously, a sort of new stage. Of course, this will last 3 weeks from Friday. 2 weeks from today, we will probably get some kind of idea of where we're going to go, whether or not we're going to move into phase 3. Of course, phase 1 to phase 2 is bumping those businesses that were open during phase 1 up to 50% capacity. Those businesses that remain closed during phase 1 are now open in phase 2 at 25% capacity. But want to remind folks that those mitigation efforts are still applicable. It's still important that you, here we go, wash your hands for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. Disinfect common surfaces at home and at the office. Wear a mask if at all possible in public. Don't touch your face. Control your cough and sneezing with elbow or a tissue. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others in public. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. Stay home if you're sick and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor. And stay home to work if at all possible. Good morning, Miss Gianna. Thanks for joining us. So at any rate, want to remind folks that staying at home and getting in touch with your doctor is extremely important. It's not just the coronavirus. Everybody's got a little something. It could be, some kind of stomach bug, some kind of flu bug. Don't want to transfer those things and especially, clog up the hospital system and that kind of thing. So reminding folks, no matter how you're sick, if you're running a fever, stay home, contact your doctor, try to get an idea of what you need to do. Getting back into your traffic real quick, considering that it's a nasty rainy morning, it's not too bad out there. Looking at 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190, some minor delays. That's on the western side of Dem Springs heading into Baton Rouge. You have on-ramp delays getting on I-12, but not too bad. And of course, I-12 is flowing at the moment. 64 heading into Central, some minor delays, but nothing crazy. Looks like some of those folks are really getting a lot better at navigating Dunn at Lockhart. That new roundabout seems to be flowing a lot better than it was at the end of last week. Of course, Linder Road is open as well. Those guardrails on Linder Road will be installed this week, at least according to Parish Councilman Scooter Keene. Buddy Ellis that road work continues, so please keep an eye on that. Of course, Dunn Road will be coming up for their portion of the Buddy Ellis Road type deal. Buddy Ellis, Dunn Road, and Forest Delat, not all at the same time, will be receiving widening, overlay, and subsurface drainage, which is a great sign for those folks that live on those roads. Weather today, 76 degrees is your current temperature. 85 going to be your high. It's going to be kept low because of the rain. 76 is your overnight high. It is going to rain all day today, so get ready for that. Bring an umbrella or a poncho to work if you haven't already left. And if you have left, hope you have an umbrella or a poncho. We are still going to be feeling some of the effects from Cristobal throughout the day. Want to remind folks that as of Friday, before Cristobal rolled in, we were looking at about 10 feet on the Amite at Denham Springs. Has risen to 18 feet so far. They're projecting a cap at 28 feet, which will probably push it near River Road in Denham Springs. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show, and good morning, Miss Regina. We are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays. It's $7 a month for that. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have a podcast page where we put these. We also have a coronavirus page, and that is free. Want to remind folks that we have at least tried to upgrade our equipment a little bit, trying to get a better picture quality as well as audio quality for these live shows in the morning. We'd love to hear your feedback. We did start that this morning. Some of you were with us earlier in the process, and I'm sure as you noticed, it was very difficult. It did not work out the way we really wanted it to, but we finally figured it out. Growing pains going to take some time to get used to this new, I guess you can say, process. It wasn't as bad yesterday, but I had all the time in the world to sit here and play with it. Of course, this morning trying to get the show started. So probably going to get better every morning as we move along. But of course, do appreciate you folks commenting this morning. Please remember, trying to be more interactive with our audience. Feel free to comment if you want. We hope you have a great day. Please try to stay dry, and we will be back with you tomorrow morning. Probably trying to get back more into that Rona rewind that we started a little while ago, and then things got busy with Cristobal and protests, and the coronavirus never really went away. So we're going to be trying to get back more into sort of a hybrid show. So we will see you tomorrow morning.